this hearing of the Jobs and Economic Growth Finance and Policy Committee meeting to order. Today is Wednesday, March 30th, 2022. We have two bills on the docket today. Senate File 4253 with Senator Champion, and then we'll be reviewing the deed and Governor's supplemental budget bill. So it's going to be a full day, and I'd like to get started right away. Members, we have a quorum. With that, Senator Champion to Senate File 4253.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Thank you to the committee. Thank you for the opportunity to present this year's equity bill. I'm grateful for the opportunity to talk about the state investing in our wonderful state, just across our state. One of the things I wanted to say, just to contextualize this, because we know that we're only going to spend a limited amount of time here, and I want to make sure that I don't get in the way of the various things that folks are going to testify about. Dr. Columba Kakitas testified about the importance of investing in our communities to keep our state globally and nationally competitive. This bill that's before you, this Senate file, is our response to that need. And we want to make sure that we do everything in order to make sure our state remains nationally and globally competitive. Because of time, I just want to make sure that folks realize that there are a number of organizations that this committee has already provided some resources for, and we're asking for additional resources in order to meet their need. But they will not be testifying today. The folks who are testifying today have before you something new, right? So for an example, we want to recognize Ujamaa Place, YWCA, Latino Economic Development Center, Building Generational Wealth, Center for Among Arts and Talent and Job Development, Hmong American Partnership, Youth Prize, White Earth, Clues, Career Construction Pathways, and Juxtaposition. As you can tell from those titles, that we are deeply engaged with making sure that we are making investment in communities of color, women, and veterans all across this wonderful state. With that being said, I'm going to start with our testifiers who will come up and testify for the Center for Economic Inclusion, and that will be Isaac Russell.
Senator Champion, before we get started, I know you have two amendments in front of us. Why don't we get the bill in the shape that you want it in first?
Yes, yes.
Senator Champion, would you like to move the A4 delete everything amendment?
Yes, so moved, Mr. Chair.
Members, this is an author's amendment. Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed. That motion carries. And then Senator Champion, you have a A6 amendment to the A4 amendment. Would you like to move that?
I do, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Senator Champion. Any discussion on the A6 amendment? Members, it should be in your packet. Seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That motion carries. Now that we've got the bill into shape, we'll go ahead and go to Mr. Russell. Welcome to the committee. Please state your name and feel free to begin when you're ready.
Absolutely. So my name is Isaac Russell. I'm the Director of Public Policy at the Center for Economic Inclusion. It's my pleasure to be before the committee today to see so many of my former coworkers on the opposite side. So this is a little bit of a surreal moment for myself. But thank you, Chair Pratt, and thank you, members of the committee. Also, thank you, Senator Champion, for your unwavering support for an equitable Minnesota. We at the Center for Economic Inclusion provide data-driven equity consulting services for local units of government and for private businesses. Some of these people that we've worked with include Ramsey County, Greater St. Cloud, Hennepin County, Itasca Project, the Minnesota Timberwolves, and Blue Cross Blue Shield. The center has also been very involved in public policy research, public policy advocacy, and then also has a history of making some direct investments into businesses, hence why I'm here today. So our original Senate file was 3198, but it has been so kindly introduced into Senator Champion's equity article, and it requests a $10 million appropriation to stimulate economic growth through strategic data-informed investments in minority-owned businesses. With this fund, we will target entrepreneurs who are scaling and growing minority businesses in Minnesota. We are taking a expansive geographic scope to this. So because we realize that there's growing diversity across the state of Minnesota. The Inclusive Job Growth Fund really stands on two pillars. So that first pillar is the job creation, and that is going to be for the creation of more equitable workplaces and job creation through pay-for-performance contracts with nonprofit organizations that provide employer outreach, training, support services, housing, transportation, and job placements. We really like to pay-for-performance contracts because it allows us to create benchmarks for the people that we're working with, and also milestones that we can celebrate when they accomplish these things. Also, the second pillar stands for business investments. It really provides three different types of investment options that allows us to help businesses. One of them is the forgivable loans. We like this because they'd be on a competitive rolling basis. We have a lot of individuals who have experience implementing these at the center. The second would be revenue-based financing. Again, this is a product that we really like, and we would be looking to take a lower stake than what typically is done through revenue-based financing. The last is equity investments. With these three types of products, we're hoping to provide the right type of product based upon the specifics of the business. We also will be engaging in a rigorous RFP process that also dovetails with our goals of creating a more inclusive economy in Minnesota. So why the center? Is based upon the work that we've done in other places and through our own center as we've developed projections based on what we expect our outcomes to be. We expect to have 375 people trained and connected through jobs through our workforce development efforts, 638 jobs created because of business access to capital. And we are employing a team of experienced professionals that have previous work at the Center for Direct Investments, also with experience for pay-for-performance contracts and North at Work, and then also individuals who are involved in a separate initiative of ours, the Project Vanguard Accelerator Fund. Due to the, actually out of respect for the committee's schedule, I will leave it at that. Questions?
Thank you, Mr. Russell. We'll take Mr. McLean, and then we'll just see if there's questions, and then we can move on to the next testifier. So welcome to the committee, Mr. McLean. Please state your name for the record.
Sure.
And feel free to begin when you're ready.
Sure. My name is Warren McLean. Thank you, Mr. Chair and committee members. My name is Warren McLean, president of Northside Economic Opportunity Network. NEON is in the process of planning and constructing a commercial food business incubator in North Minneapolis. The total cost of the project is $12.5 million. And we're asking for the state to partner with NEON by providing $6 million from the general fund. I want to thank Senator Champion for authoring the food business incubator bill and for his leadership on helping to close the opportunity gaps for Minnesotans of color. Also want to thank Senator Pratt for devoting an entire hearing to the issue and for meeting with us to talk about NEON's work. NEON was started in 2006. Our mission is to build wealth for low to moderate income entrepreneurs in North Minneapolis. In the last 2 years, NEON has provided 11,560 hours of technical assistance and provided $6.8 million in grants and loans to 2,256 clients. The commercial food incubator will be located on 23rd Avenue and Penn, and also West Broadway. It will be about 22,000 square feet. It'll hold up to 24 private kitchens. We'll have a 3,000 square foot community shared kitchen. It will service about 40 to 50 food trucks. It'll also help support 270 food business clients will be served per year. Commercial business incubator is a proven concept. There's several commercial food incubators around the country. The best known one is the Hatchery located in Chicago, on the west side of Chicago, which is a very successful 65,000 square foot facility. During the construction phase of the business incubator, it will produce 261 jobs. And then once the facility is constructed and in operation, it'll provide 265 permanent jobs. And this is a result of a study that was done by the University of Minnesota. Just to be brief, in August of 2020, we were approached by a number of our funders to launch a Grow and Thrive campaign. And I just want to list some of the members of that campaign that are helping us to raise the funding that we need. Doug Baker, David Mortensen, Vance Opperman, Steve Wellington, Peter McLaughlin, Tim Baylor, Patrick Troska, and our chair is James Pierce. To date, we've raised $4.8 million. Thank you, Mr. Chair and committee members and Senator Champion for the opportunity to testify. I'm happy to answer any questions.
Thank you. Do we have any questions for Mr. Russell or Mr. McLean? Okay, well, seeing none, thank you very much for your time today. Next, we have Ms. Akansanya, and then we have Ms. Rasmussen on Zoom. And then we'll also, well, let's just start with those and we'll go forward. So
And
Ms. yes, Senator
Mr.
Champion.
Chair, just if we could have Johi Pumplin start off first with the Business Resource Collective after Sharon Smith Akinsanya from the Ray McKenzie Group. And just so I orient the committee to something, on our amendment on line 5.14, it says the 12.2 million is for the nationwide Minnesota Strong campaign. And then there's a line that is at 7.11 for $3 million. Those two should actually be together because it should be 15.2 million for nationwide. And of that 15.2 million, 3 million will be hopefully invested into the Ray McKenzie Group, but she will speak to both of those at this time. So thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you for that explanation, Senator Champion. And I apologize, I missed the hyphen. So welcome to the committee, Ms. Smith Akinsanya. Please state your name for the record and feel free to begin when you're ready.
Thank you, Chair Pratt, and members of the committee. My name is Sharon Smith Akinsanya, and I am the CEO of Ray McKenzie Group. We help position and package brands to resonate with audiences nationwide. We're storytellers. I advise many corporations that are headquartered right here in Minnesota, such as Best Buy, Target, Anderson, US Bank, Children's Minnesota, University of Minnesota, Summit Academy OIC, the Minnesota Timberwolves, and so many more. Chair Pratt, members of the committee, my idea for the Minnesota Strong Bill was born out of conversations that keep coming up when we're advising our clients. My clients keep asking me, how do we fix the labor crisis issue, Sharon? How do we keep our talent from being poached by other states? And I'm sure you're having some of these same conversations with the state of Minnesota being one of the our number one employer. But ever since George Floyd was murdered, our state has been perceived as nearly radioactive, especially if you're paying close attention to the national news narrative. This greatly impacts our region's competitiveness in attracting and retaining talent, businesses, and students. Chair Pratt, members of the committee, we have lost control of our own narrative. And that's why I'm here today, to remind us all that there's another story that we should be telling. You see, we're by no means perfect, but I believe that Minnesota is a great place to live and work. Our amazing state offers opportunities that few can rival. Corporations, small businesses, and nonprofits headquartered here are some of the most innovative organizations you'll find anywhere, but nobody knows about it. There's so much good news. When you consider that Minnesota is also home to some of the nation's top employers, one of the best public school systems in the nation, unparalleled nature, and so much more, but nobody knows about it. Nobody remembers it. The problem is that news outlets, Chair Pratt, they're not interested in these stories. They're looking out for the next time our state slips up. We can't rely on others to tell our story anymore. We need a clear strategy and focus on telling our story authentically if we're going to have any chance of changing the growing perception among the entire population that we're moving in the wrong direction. So here's what I say. We need a national general market campaign to turn this tide. And I'm not talking about a tourism campaign, a campaign to take back control of our narrative that shows we are indeed Minnesota strong. Again, by no means are we perfect, but let's authentically remind everybody about Minnesota's great quality of life. Let's shift the focus towards everything our state is doing to help close the equity gap, like what Senator Champion's here doing today. Let's spotlight the philanthropy that Minnesotans show each and every day. Let's lift our amazing nature, gorgeous rural town settings in our bustling cities. And let's get the word out to our new workers that Minnesota offers unparalleled opportunities to grow. Let's also remind small business owners why Minnesota is one of the best states to set up shop and put out your open for business sign. And let's talk to our own recent graduates and remind them that there is a place for them here in Minnesota. My own daughter, Ray Akinsanya, tells me all the time, Mom, Minnesota hasn't made room for me here. And it doesn't, I just don't see myself coming back right now. But I love Minnesota and I'm open to all the new messages. The $15.2 million Minnesota Strong General Market campaign nationwide would also be timely because it allows us to keep up with what our neighbors are doing in places like South Dakota, Iowa, and Wisconsin. And if we stand idly by, things will just get worse. So as far as the 3 million carved out for the Ray McKenzie Group, we will be responsible for creating a new narrative around the message Minnesota wishes to send African Americans. Let's make a statement together that Minnesota understands how to issue a proper invitation to everybody and ask the Black community to give us a second look, which is the challenge that the Ray McKenzie Group is uniquely qualified to do. Thank you, Chair Pratt and members of the committee for hearing me, and I will stand for questions.
Thank you. Welcome, Ms. Pomplin. Welcome. Please state your name for the record and feel free to begin when you're ready.
Sure. Thank you, Chair Pratt. Thank you, Senator. Thank you, committee. My name is Juhi Pomplin. I'm the Executive Director for the Alliance for Metropolitan Stability. We're a coalition of over 30 community-based organizations with a mission to advance justice and equity in economic growth and land development here in the Twin Cities. And we convene a table of over 20 cultural and place-based community organizations here in the Twin Cities and statewide who are centered on the needs and growth of Black, Indigenous, immigrant, and people of color owned businesses. And this table is the Business Resource Collective, which is named in the bill, which envisions that Minnesota has a thriving small business landscape in every community and creating a community nurturing spaces and jobs that generate economic opportunity and health. And what is unique about our collective is that we have representation of the different ethnic, racial communities, cultural communities here in the state. And we believe that the need to support this ecosystem is essential because our communities, I should stick to my script. Our communities seek out services from their own community, right? And so this collective builds upon that and works to support that. And I'm going to pass it to Elaine, who will be much better at articulating.
Thank you. We have Ms. Rasmussen on Zoom. Welcome to the committee. Please state your name for the record and feel free to begin when you're ready.
Elaine Rasmussen. Good morning, good afternoon, Chair and members of the committee. Thank you for your service and this opportunity to speak about small business ecosystem and what we believe is essential strategy to exponentially growing the Minnesota tax base through thoughtful entrepreneurship growth. My name is Elaine Rasmussen, founder and CEO of Social Impact Strategies Group. We provide consulting on inclusive economic development and social impact. I'm also the founder of Connect Up Institute, a social finance and enterprise development studio. In my remarks, I want to emphasize 3 points: the challenges of the current entrepreneur ecosystem, an overlooked opportunity of the past that will be the financial surplus of this state for the future, and BRC's role with a call to action. The current ecosystem lacks capital downstream for middle stage founders. The ecosystem is also fragmented and siloed, and there's a faulty presumption around entrepreneurship and the growth of micro businesses in our state. According to Fortune magazine, as of 2018, only 34 Black female founders nationally raised $1 million or more in venture capital. This translates to 1/3 of 1% of all investments. Despite this continued disconnect, women of color, more specifically Black women, continue to be the largest growing segment of entrepreneurs. Our 2019 State of the Work report has demonstrated these stats are also true in Minnesota. While we've recently seen a launch of several venture funds to close the investment gap in Minnesota, these financing solutions are too far upstream for underrepresented communities to grow and scale. The entrepreneur ecosystem is largely driven by white-led organizations with great intentions, however, falls short of providing culturally responsive opportunities. Only 1 out of the 9 Launch Minnesota investments went to a person of color-led business organization, and that organization received 25% less funding than its white counterparts. But here's where there's an opportunity. The Black Tapestry report by AEO, the Association for Enterprise Opportunity, outlines that if 15% of all Black businesses were to hire just 1 full-time employee, that would translate to $3 trillion added to our national GDP. I'm going to ask you to just imagine if 15%, 1/5 of every ethnic group in Minnesota hired one full-time executive, that could translate to $9 billion for the state domestic product and tax base for much needed infrastructure, teacher pay increases, and alternative public safety models. To get there, the BRC has developed a healthy business framework through its 18-month volunteer collaboration to stitch together an entrepreneur ecosystem led by people of color and allies for a more holistic system. The BRC's Healthy Business Framework includes strongly supported ecosystem building by and for people of color to move folks to provide back office development, operational planning, hiring, and moving them from single operator to strategic CEO, and not advice, but a more inclusive social finance options to help them scale their business. Intentionally filling these gaps of resources and capital is required to ensure greater success among all businesses, particularly those in underestimated and underinvested communities. Hustle mode has a shelf life, and the BRC has a plan to better position founders to be ready for more traditional capital, such as angel, new market tax credits, and venture capital investments. I welcome you to ensure your place in the annals of history by taking this pivotal moment to lay down the foundation that will fundamentally shift the tide of obsolete economic development policies and usher in an era of exponential growth for Minnesota by supporting the BRC and this bill. Thank you.
Thank you, Senator Champion.
No, thank you, Mr. Chair. I just wanted to make sure that we were as timely as possible because you already told me how timely I have to be.
Sorry, I thought you were trying to get my attention. Any questions for our three testifiers? Ms. Smith-Akinsanya, might suggest hanging around and listening to the deed bill because there might be something in there that that catches your attention. You know, we've talked about that recruiting piece.
Yeah.
So, and I have a daughter in Texas. It's going to be hard to get her back too.
Yeah. Yeah, I'll be
But hers is because it's cold. So thank you very much.
Thank you.
Next we have, please forgive me if I mispronounce your names. Mr. Bobbington Johnson
Alfred Babington Johnson.
and Mr. McAfee. Welcome to the committee. Please state your name for the record and feel free to begin when you're ready.
Thank you. My name is Jerry McAfee. I'm the pastor of New Salem Missionary Baptist Church and the founder of 21 Days of Peace. 21 Days of Peace is a collective of churches cross-denominational settings for the purpose of intervening in violent areas of our city. I'm sure you all are well aware that since George Floyd, we had well over 1,000 people shot, 200 to 300 people killed between Minneapolis and St. Paul, and our police forces are down significantly. We also understand the correlation and the combination between poverty and crime. And many of these things that happens in our community, we can track and trace to crime. We work very well with the police departments, be it state, be it sheriff, and be it city, such as when there's hot areas in North Minneapolis, Charlie Adams chose out 4 spots for the churches to go to. We occupied for 21 days with the thought that anything that you can do for 21 straight days, change can occur. But yet our people are armed with information, not just occupying the area to push people out, but we want to know, brother, sister, why are you here? What can we do to help you get on the right track? How can we help transform where you're at? And it is our belief that if we take the authority of the church, put it behind it with the dynamite that is within us and seize the opportunities that are before us, that we can exact change. And this change is measurable. You can talk to Minneapolis police, you can talk to St. Paul police, every area that we've been in, we've been able to exact change. The least amount of change occurred on Broadway and Lindale at an 18% difference. And we've gone 2 areas was 100% turnaround, and it's measured and given by the police, by the shot spotters. They can tell by how many shots was fired before we got there, as well as how many calls was coming to those areas before we got there. And we can safely report that we've had great response.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. McAfee. Mr. Babington Johnson, welcome to the committee. Please state your name for the record and feel free to begin when you're ready.
Alfred Babington Johnson. Chair Pratt, Ranking Member Champion, thank you for the opportunity to appear and to speak. We're living in an era in which a variety of forces are driving us to siloed thinking and acting. In a world in which personal and tribal benefits become the dominant thinking, those segments of society with the least access to power and resources suffer the most. The best evidence of that would be the analysis of any of the social disparities reported on in the United States, the residency of African-American people at the bottom of all the indices. Our position is that the key to advance for our community is empowerment and capacity building, particularly in respect to economic viability. Our people need to be gainfully employed, and we need peace and stability in our neighborhoods to be able to enjoy the benefits of prosperity. Prosperity and peace come together in efforts that we would implement, and Reverend McAfee just mentioned the 21 days of peace. African-American people also live in a trauma basin created by historical practices and reinforced by systematic exclusions that continue to reinforce limited access to power and resources. To enhance job success, we will also address trauma. We've created what the psychologists call a learned self-management curriculum entitled Choosing Life in the Black Community, Achieving the Dream. Early evaluation of the curriculum indicates that those with the highest level of trauma experience the highest level of benefit. We will effectuate our job-creating, nurturing efforts by mobilizing the African-American church. We have the largest network of African-American churches in the state of Minnesota. To achieve meaningful change to what have seemed to be intractable problems requires intentional empowerment and thoughtful capacity building to allow disadvantaged communities to address their issues, their own issues, with weaponry and tools that they themselves can deploy. I would suggest that that is the message of President Volodymyr Zelensky and the Ukrainian people. We join their call. They say we face a vicious enemy that seeks to destroy us. Give us the weapons and we will fight and we will win.
Thank you both. Any questions for either one of our testifiers?
And Mr. Chair,
Senator Champion.
it's just so that the committee also knows that 21 Days of Peace is also a program, an initiative that has been well received by law enforcement. They work well with law enforcement, the community. Also, Senator Gazelka has had an opportunity to come out and talk with Reverend McAfee as well. He supports this effort as well. It's a great job initiative, and it's also an opportunity as folks are interacting in the community to think about how they could potentially serve, and if they want to go into law enforcement or if they want to go into community organizing, whatever it is, we just want to create a platform of opportunity.
Great. Well, thank you, Reverend McAfee. Thank you, Mr. Babington Johnson. Appreciate your testimony today. Next, we have Mr. Johnson and Mr. Winston. I believe Mr. Winston is on Zoom.
And Mr. Chair, just so you know that Mr. Johnson, who's coming, is for Mind the Gap. That's an initiative that he'll talk about. And Winston Johnson is a part of Catalyst Coalition, and there's 3 people that will testify by Zoom within their 4 minutes by Zoom. Thank you.
Senator Champion. I guess thank you for bringing that to my attention that we have those 3. So we'll take Mr. Johnson first, and then we'll take the Catalyst folks together.
Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Welcome to the committee, Mr. Johnson. Please state your name for the record and feel free to begin when you're ready.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Mr. Chair Pratt, David E. Johnson is my name, and to this amazing committee and Senator Champion, thank you very much for allowing me to be here this afternoon. Again, my name is David E. Johnson. I'm the Executive Director of Mind the Gap. GAP stands for Gaining Assistance to Prosperity Program. It is an honor to appear before you today. I thank you for hearing the testimony regarding this particular file as we prepare for this equity bill. Established in 2017, Mind the Gap, MTG, better known, is a multifaceted workforce development initiative that was created to improve the quality of life of underemployed and unemployed African Americans by improving their employment outcomes and developing individual earning potentials. Built on the premise that work transforms lives, Mind the Gap's program not only help individuals generate income sufficiency to support their families, but also aggressively promotes long-term change via career advancement support, financial stabilization services, and solid community connections. Our mission at Mind the Gap is to transform lives by creating pathways for individuals to close the gap to prosperity. Mind the Gap has a history of providing life-changing services to people of color and committed to building their lives and future for themselves and for their families. Today, we're excited to deliver 4 core areas of services for our participants. Number 1, financial literacy and stability. Number 2, housing and supported services. Number 3, job placement services and career laddering. Number 4, which is our flagship, commercial driver's license our CDL Driving Beyond Barriers program. To date, Mind the Gap has served more than 212 individuals in our program, culminating all the way up to 100% people of color, 78% of whom were low income and hard to employ, while 87% of these participants have received a commercial driver's license and received wageable employment to change and transform their lives and their families. Our current programs create pathways for hard-to-employ adults and young adults by equipping them and empowering them to overcome their barriers to employment and self-sufficiency. I'm encouraging this particular committee to consider Mind the Gap as we look forward towards helping our individuals with Class A and Class B commercial driver's license. It transforms lives and create possible jobs for the betterment of their future. At this time, if there are any questions, I'll be able to answer those.
Any questions for Mr. Johnson?
Mr. Chair,
Senator Champion.
if I can underscore one thing that Mr. Johnson did not mention is that this initiative is in Minnetonka. And we think that's important because it shows our reach and continuing to show the reach, not just in the Twin Cities, not just in rural Minnesota, but in suburbia as well.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Well, thank you, Mr. Johnson. And Senator Johnson Stewart and I both serve on transportation. We've had quite a number of conversations around supply chain and CDLs. Thank you for helping. Just one quick question.
Sure.
What are
Mr.
the
Chair.
main barriers that you're helping your clients get over?
We have a plethora of barriers that we see, Mr. Chair. We see, thank you, Mr. Chair, Pratt. We see several barriers. Number one, there is the sustainability of childcare. There is also sustainability in small, what we consider to be soft skill training. The soft skill training is very challenging for the population in which we serve. Mr. Chair, most of our participants that enter into our program are challenged in soft skills, and our organization helped bridge the gap between HR and our participants. We become the conduit to help keep sustainability for employment rather than having HR do all the small work.
Thank you. Well, Senator Champion and I have a number of conversations that one of the key pillars of this committee should be to remove barriers to employment. So it just caught my attention on that, and I appreciate your
Thank you, Mr. Chair.
your explanation. Seeing no other questions, we'll move on to Catalyst, Senator Champion. So we'll have Mr. Winston, Mr. Altman, and Ms. Murphy. I believe they're all three on Zoom. Welcome to the committee. I'll let you guys decide what order you want to go in. And so please state your name for the record and feel free to begin when you're ready.
I'll start. So I'd like to thank Chair Pratt, the committee, and Senator Champion for having us here today. My name is Hollis Winston. I consult, project manage, and advocate on behalf of the Catalyst Coalition, coalition of 5 organizations that exist to grow minority businesses through providing capital, consulting, and technical assistance. The concept of the Minnesota Inclusive Growth Fund was born out of the need to provide low-interest capital to not just minority-owned businesses, but to women and veteran-owned businesses statewide that are struggling to recover from the COVID pandemic. We're asking for $1 million for this fund, which will be matched several times over by senior loans from banks, patient capital from foundations, and nonprofits. Today, we have raised $17 million in the fund, but are looking to scale further to meet community need. In attendance are Catalyst Partners Community Reinvestment Fund and MITA Community Reinvestment Fund, however, with Frank Altman will be testifying.
Thank you, Mr. Winston. Mr. Altman, please state your name for the record and feel free to begin when you're ready.
Thank you, Mr. Chair and members of the committee. My name is Frank Altman. I'm the CEO and co-founder of Community Reinvestment Fund. We are a national nonprofit financial organization headquartered in Minnesota, serving primarily low-income communities throughout the United States. To date, we've made more than $3.5 billion worth of investments, mostly in low-income communities, and serving more than 1,000 communities in all 50 states. In Minnesota, we've made nearly $200 million worth of investments throughout the state as well. About a third of our lending has gone into greater Minnesota as well. And historically, we've made substantial improvements in lending to BIPOC businesses. In fact, in this year, we've already lent 75% of the money that we have invested or lent has gone to businesses owned by Blacks, Indigenous, or people of color. So that's a little bit about CRF. We have been managing recovery funds around the country, and most recently have been tapped to manage the Minnesota Inclusive Growth Fund. So that is the role that we play, as well as to raise capital for the fund. As you heard from Hollis, we've raised already more than $17 billion for the fund, with a target of 50 million. Our principle is always to leverage scarce charitable and public resources with private investments. So to date, all the money we've raised has come from the private sector or from philanthropy. That's a little bit of an overview. The fund is operating now, and we've already got a pipeline of more than $2 million in requests after just launching the fund in the last week or two. So I'll stop there and see if there are any questions. I'm accompanied by Anisha Murphy, who is really running the program at CRF. And so if you have other questions, she's available to answer as well.
Thank you, Mr. Altman. And next we have Ms. Murphy. Welcome to the committee. Please state your name for the record and feel free to begin when you're ready.
Thank you, Senator Pratt. Oh, unmute myself. I was muted. Thank you, Mr. Chair and members of the committee. My name is Anisha Murphy. And as Frankie and Hollis has already mentioned, the Minnesota Inclusive Growth Fund is a collaborative of small business financing initiatives chartered and sponsored by the Catalyst Coalition. MIGF, in short, is designed to equip community, small businesses, and financial institutions with the support and resources they need as they rebuild and recover from the pandemic and also civil unrest of 2020. The program offers flexible, affordable working capital loans for small businesses to recover and rebuild from the COVID pandemic and civil unrest following the murder of George Floyd. The primary focus of MIGF and the loans in MIGF is really to help businesses that are in low to moderate income communities and those that are underbanked and under-resourced throughout Minnesota. Our mission with this project is to really have and drive greater impact to under-resourced businesses that were probably under-resourced even prior to the pandemic, but especially under-resourced as they rebuild in light of the pandemic. To that extent, I'll stop there and open it up for any questions.
Thank you. Any questions for our testifiers? Okay, seeing none. Well, thank you guys. Appreciate your testimony today. Next, we have Mr. Pariseau, and then we'll take Mr. Adon.
Mr. Chair, it's my understanding that Mr. Pariseau is just going to be around if there are any questions, but he's not testifying.
All right, thank you, Senator Champion. Then we'll move on to Mr. Adon and Ms. Beery.
Mr. Who? I'm sorry. Well, no, we have to do Just to Build Communities. Adair Mosley should have been on there, Mr. Chair.
I'm sorry.
Adair Mosley. He's with Just to Build.
I'm sorry. I'm looking at an old list. I apologize.
Okay, sorry about that, Mr. Chair.
Welcome to the committee, Mr. Mosley. Please state your name for the record and feel free to begin when you're ready.
Wonderful. Good afternoon. Adair Mosley, President and CEO of Pillsbury United Communities. Chair Pratt, Senator Champion, certainly thank you for your leadership and commitment to building equitable communities. Today, what I'm proposing is Pillsbury United Communities is proposing to build a Fintech entrepreneurial hub in North Minneapolis. With an investment of $5 million from the state, Pillsbury United will secure the remaining $11 million in investments to open this hub by 2025. This is the site of the economic development project and job creation. An entrepreneurial hub is in a building that saw severe damage during the civil unrest. And to be able to demonstrate the bipartisanship that exists around this idea of Fintech, I will quote Representative Emmer, who says, "We must continue to put technology in a place where it can thrive, where it can reach underserved communities, and where it can expand everyone's access to financial services." He's the lead on the House Fintech Task Force. And so I thought that would certainly show that this is certainly a bipartisan topic. Minnesota is poised to produce more innovation in the financial tech services space, given our concentration of industry leaders from US Bank, Securian Financial, Thrivent, Allianz, regional banks, and other sectors. With the right access for entrepreneurs and coupled with strategic investments, small business development can catalyze innovation can be born right here in our own backyard. While fintech may sound futuristic, it is currently a part of our daily lives. Whether you sent a financial transaction using Zelle to your college student, or you purchased an item online using new payment tools like Sezzle or Afterpay, or you signed one of your kids up for the Greenlight credit card that also serves as a financial tool for literacy and savings, you are using a product that has been empowered by the emergence of financial technology. Our hub could generate more innovation for the and underbanked, which is affecting all parts of the state. It could democratize investments. Senator Uckey, imagine entrepreneurs creating an insurance product that has better technology advancements, including AI innovations and algorithms that would individualize risk selection and pricing, and customers can select products based on a wide range of price points. Senator Johnson Stewart, imagine a building that gives tech developers access to a data sandbox where they can intersect database and information theory, software engineering, information theory, numerical analysis, and understand how their product will be able to interact in the real world environments. Senator Housley, we have not figured out how to intersect hockey. We are seeking to put this entrepreneurial hub that integrates financial institutions, entrepreneurs, and venture capitalists all in the same location. Entrepreneurs can work on an innovative product, position their innovation to banks for seed investments, and ultimately pitch their products for Series A funding, all in North Minneapolis. Growth potential in the fintech space is incredible. 64% early stage deals dominated the market in 2021. Nearly 5,000 deals in 2021 saw 168 increase in funding for a total of $131 billion. Revolving loan fund that makes investments in friends and families for friends and family space from concepts and ideas, which is difficult for individuals to get funding, especially Black and brown entrepreneurs. Companies like Sezzle, which is headquartered right here in our own backyard in the North Loop area, created over 300 jobs in tech, marketing, and other careers only since 2016. So this fully integrated hub would be the first of its kind in Minnesota. Thank you for your interest and the opportunity to testify today.
Thank you, Mr. Mosley, and thank you for having me out to talk about this pre-session. It was a fun conversation as a banker, a recovering banker, I should say, to talk about that. You know, anything that you have around Venmo, around PayPal, that all is fintech, and it's an exciting, growing industry. So thank you.
Yeah, thank you for the opportunity.
Other questions? Senator Uckey, he called you out specifically.
I heard that. That was pretty good. I liked it.
So, Mr. Chair, with the last two groups that we have, I'm just going to ask Senator Putnam to come up and introduce the last two groups because they're from St. Cloud, and I just thought it would be important for them to see their senator who's been working really hard there. So those are the last two groups that we have, Mr. Chair, and I'll step back.
Thank you, Senator Champion. So Senator Putnam, I think we have Career Solutions and Cairo.
We do, but before I say anything else, Mr. Chair, I think it's very important that I acknowledge at this moment that although this is technically my first time presenting to the committee, it's under the auspices of Body Joe, so I am not responsible for treats. That's perfectly clear. In fact, to do so would have been disrespectful to his authority. Mr. Chair, I do want to say thank you personally and as a citizen of Minnesota. You earlier said, Mr. Chair, that our job, our call, our responsibility in this committee is to remove barriers to people getting employment. And I want to say to everyone who's here watching, I know you probably haven't been watching committee every week for the past 6 months, but that is genuinely what we do here under Chair Pratt's leadership. It is not just words, it's what we're actually doing. We're engaged in that very fundamentally American responsibility of government of increasing opportunity for everyone who needs it. That's what we do in this committee, and that's what is happening in this bill. So I want to thank you personally, Mr. Chair, and members for hearing this bill and thinking about it today. And I also would like to thank Senator Champion for understanding, as he does, that opportunity needs to be increased everywhere. The concern of equity is not a city's concern. It's not a greater Minnesota concern. It's an us concern. And so I appreciate Senator Champion's acknowledgement of that and his willingness to hear about these projects in St. Cloud. And I also must acknowledge very quickly that half of St. Cloud is here today. I'm very proud of my friends who are here today, not just to testify on behalf of these bills, but to demonstrate their commitment to improving St. Cloud and opportunities for everyone who lives there. We have two projects to discuss today with some of my friends who are here to testify on their behalf. The first project that we're going to hear about is a collaborative project, and that's what we do in Greater Minnesota. We collaborate. And this first project we're going to hear about, I think, is fantastic. It's a relationship between Career Solutions, which is a nonprofit, our local African-American church, a nonprofit that serves primarily East African and Somali folks, and another nonprofit that works primarily with immigrants who are Latinx in background. All three of those communities have needs, and the people who are here today to talk about them are uniquely qualified not just to speak about those concerns, but to solve those problems. And so, Mr. Chair, without further delay, I'd like to first introduce our first presenter, who is Tammy Beery from Career Solutions.
Thank you. And Senator Putnam, we need to keep this moving along. We didn't inspect your comments, so we need to keep this moving along so we can get to the next bill. Welcome to the committee. Please state your name for the record and feel free to begin when you're ready.
Thank you, Senator Pratt and committee. My name is Tammy Beery with Career Solutions, Executive Director. I'm excited to be here, honored to be here to talk about a collaborative initiative amongst a number of nonprofits in St. Cloud. We're focused on workforce initiatives for the BIPOC community. We have a huge unemployment rate in the Somali community at about 72%, and the Black community in St. Cloud is at about 47%. 75% of the low-income residents of color are housing cost burdened. So we're really looking at trying to increase their opportunities for gainful employment. We would like to provide training opportunities for transportation, construction, healthcare, technology, and manufacturing. We have businesses at the ready. We're introducing an inclusive workforce employer initiative where we will certify that these employers are welcoming to all people, and we will educate job seekers on that fact as well. Those employers are ready to change their trainings, increase opportunities for people from the BIPOC community. And the trainings that we're looking at providing are ensuring that they have the skills, the soft skills, and that they're safe on the job in any of these areas. So with that, I'm going to turn it over to Pastor Albert.
Welcome to the committee. Please state your name for the record and feel free to begin when you're ready.
Thank you, Chairman. Thank you, committee, and to Senator Putnam and to Senator Champion. We appreciate your time on this effort. My name is Pastor James Alberts. I'm the CEO of Higher Works Collaborative and a pastor of Higher Ground Church of God in Christ in St. Cloud, Minnesota. It is extraordinarily significant that we find ourselves in this place at this time, in this moment. We come here representing Greater Minnesota, but not just because we're Greater Minnesota, but because we believe Minnesota is greater. And we want to be able to get to the place and the point where we can actually accomplish those things. We have to be innovative in the work that we're doing, but we have to be innovative because innovation is what is required. The technology requirements, the demands of education, and all of the things that are being needed and necessary in order for us to make the leap forward to the next point is what is required out of the work that we're doing. We need our teamwork that we do here in the Greater Minnesota area, but also we need collaboration from this committee and from the entire state in order for us to be able to accomplish the work that we are doing. We see that there is access to opportunities and access to solutions all the way around the country that look like they would work for us, but we know that in order for us to do that, we have to be able to bring it completely home and make it ours. And in order for us to be able to have that, we need your help, your support, And you have our commitment to be able to bring to complete fruition the work and the establishment of the things that we've got going on. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Pastor. And let's finish up with our last testifier, but Senator Putnam, we are a little bit over time.
Hello, Chairman Pratt, member of the committee. Thank you. My name is Sharwa Adan. I'm from Central Minnesota Community Empowerment Organization, an organization that works with Pipa community and a growing number of them in Central Minnesota. Today, our hope is to get some support to build the infrastructure that would support the St. Cloud's workforce. We are hoping this infrastructure would enable and support the PIPAC workforce in Central Minnesota and in St. Cloud especially. I know we're short on time and I don't want to take too long, but we really appreciate your time and consideration. Thank you, Senator Putnam and Senator Chapman. Thank you very much all.
Thank you. Senator Champion, we're over time. Senator Putnam took up a good chunk of testifiers. I think we've had more testifiers than were on the list. Would you like to come up and give some closing comments?
Mr. Chair, we had one more, but we understand that a chunk of time was taken, but we want to make sure that there is, maybe for my closing comments, if we could just hear him, because I didn't want him to drive all the way from St. Cloud.
Yeah, it just, we had more testifiers than were on the list that you gave us, so.
I understand, Mr. Chair.
Thank you.
It's not your fault.
Welcome to the committee. If you could just be brief,
Yeah,
please.
And I appreciate that we were not just one group from St. Cloud, we were different partners. So thank you, Chair Pratt. Members of the committee, my name is Abdelkader Bashir. I am the founding president for the Center for African Immigrants and Refugees Organization, the largest PIPAC community organization in Central Minnesota and possibly greater Minnesota. We work with African immigrants who are most often refugees impacted by war, conflict, and displacement in their countries of origin. We provide cultural services delivered by a staff that reflects the community it serves. Our services reflect the values, beliefs, practices, and worldviews of the African immigrants and refugees. It is the mission of the Center for African Immigrants to advocate for an act to increase equity through community organizing programs and services that create equitable opportunities for our communities to thrive. We envision a more just and equitable society where our Black children, youth, and families live in sustained, supportive communities that reinforce the cultural wealth and lived experiences of the immigrant families. Our expertise lies across three priority areas, one of which includes the economic development that entails housing and access to stability, that also includes employment services for underserved and underemployed communities, as well as providing technical capacities for small business developments. Chair Pratt, we have collective partners consisting of 5 community organizations from Central Minnesota that is built on the premise of the famous African proverb that it takes all of us to build or to raise the child in the village. St. Cloud is now home to the fastest growing Black African-American population in the region since 2000. This community, however, continually experienced lower labor participation rates and higher unemployment rates, and therefore poverty rates as well. Our program target participants are the Black African immigrant group and refugees in Central Minnesota who have the highest unemployment rates in the region, more than 3 times the rate for whites in the same neighborhood. They are also underemployed with a staggering unemployment, with a staggering median household of $32,000 compared to $70,000 in the area. The households for the target population in this are not only facing the lowest household income, but they also have the highest cost, the second highest cost of living for a family outside of the Twin City areas. Chairman Pratt, members of the committee, it is my absolute honor to testify and say that this couldn't have come a better time, in terms of a better time than it is right now. And we would like to be part of this if we truly are intentional about creating equitable opportunities for our Black Minnesotans. Thank you so much again.
Thank you. Thank you, Senator Champion, and everyone who had a chance to testify today. We're going to go ahead and lay Senate File 4253 over for possible inclusion. But we do appreciate the stories are very, very important for all of us to hear. So with that, we will move on to Senate File 4091. Commissioner Grow, welcome back to the committee. And members, while Commissioner Grove's coming up, I just wanted to highlight that a number of organizations in Senator Champion's bill did not come to testify in person. They gave us handouts, and there's also a bill summary in your packet as well. Welcome back, Commissioner, and Ms. Dannon. Please state your name for the record, and then let's begin when you're ready.
Mr. Chair, members of the committee, Steve Grove here, Commissioner of the Department of Employment and Economic Development. It's a pleasure to be with you here today. I'm joined by my colleagues, Daryl Danner, who you know as our Legislative Director, as well as our Deputy Commissioner for Workforce Services, Evan Rowe, our Deputy Commissioner for Economic Development, Kevin McKinnon, our Assistant Commissioner for Immigrant and Refugee Affairs, Nisa Haji Mumin, and the newest member of Deed's Commissioner's Office, the Deputy Commissioner for Workforce Development, Mark Majors. Mark is here in the back, and his first hearing in front of this committee as our new Deputy Commissioner, so we're thrilled to have him here today. It is a pleasure to follow Senator Champion and Senator Putnam and the amazing organizations they brought forward here today. Many of them are Deed grantees. We're honored to partner with them. And I think they set the stage really for an important conversation about how we look at this moment and this opportunity for Minnesota's economy with an extraordinary surplus and extraordinary need to make real change and real growth in Minnesota's economy. So we're going to walk through the governor's budget. We'll hopefully have as much time for questions as possible. I believe my colleague, Ms. Dan, is going to present some slides up here in just a moment. But we will start with, I think, the issue that is most timely for all of us, which is the Unemployment Insurance Trust Fund. This is an issue that this committee has discussed at length. We've been here to talk about it before. We mentioned it first just because it is the most timely. We want to get this done as soon as possible so that we can cut these taxes for small businesses, allow for the growth that's needed in our economy. Just to give you a perspective, we are already seeing thousands of employers already pay their taxes. So that's going to be more complex work to get done. The Unemployment Insurance Trust Fund at about $1.38 billion in deficit today. That will grow in the next few months, and we need to turn that around. 2.73 billion would do the job, prevent those tax increases for businesses. And I know this committee agrees because you voted as such, and just want to thank you for that and mention that we're working hard to get this done with our colleagues in the House as well. On that theme of small business, though, in addition to making sure we create a tax environment that's good for small businesses, we've got to do some proactive things. Small businesses have faced extraordinary challenge over the last few years. And one of the things we have seen that's a promising trend is more and more people are starting things. We've seen a 40% uptick in small business starts over the last year in Minnesota. That is incredible. 40% higher than usual rate of people starting something new, whether it's disruption they saw in the pandemic, whether it's they got fired from their existing job or had to leave it or just saw a new opportunity. That's an opportunity that we have to take advantage of. And luckily, we've got some great programs in the department that do just that. We have the Angel Tax Credit, which we won't address as much here today because it isn't the tax committee, but an extraordinary program that we should just get in the base and make a consistent part of our tax code. We also have Launch Minnesota, a program you heard mentioned a moment ago. This is a program this committee helped create a couple of years back that really focuses on helping early stage startups get up and off the ground. And one of the things that our team has realized in building this program over the past few years, particularly in greater Minnesota, is that there's a huge opportunity here to make Minnesota the place where businesses really scale up, for businesses to come to our state and take advantage of a really strong talent market, to make that jump from being kind of an early stage company into a really established and significant, or hopefully someday public company that can be the next Fortune 500. This $5 million would help for that scale up component of business growth that we're really excited to invest in moving forward for Launch Minnesota. I'll just say as well, this is a program that is rooted in equity. 1 in 4 of the founders we've given grants to before are people of color, and groups like Social Impact Strategies, who you hear from before, are some of our newest education grantees that are focused on growing opportunity across our economy. The second area we want to focus on is the State Small Business Credit Initiative. This is $97 million that's coming into Minnesota no matter what. That's what the U.S. Treasury is going to direct our way to help people who can't usually get financing through traditional banking mechanisms find funding in our market. One of the programs in that initiative is a venture fund that the state of Minnesota would have the opportunity to fund. But our laws around our capital investment fund don't allow for taking equity in companies. And so this is a policy change, not a budget change per se, but it needs to happen in order to get us in line with that federal program, make sure that we can ensure Minnesota businesses take advantage of this program as much as any other state would as well. So very eager to make sure that program is as effective as it possibly can be. You know, we've talked a little bit about marketing earlier, and Chair Pratt, you mentioned that in your conversation earlier with Senator Champion. We could not agree more with Senator Champion or Sharon Smith-Akinsanya. This is an area where Minnesota has fallen woefully behind. Every single border state that looks into Minnesota is spending millions of dollars on marketing to tell their story to our talent. We're facing the largest workforce shortage we've faced in Minnesota's history, and we're being out-marketed by our neighbors, and not just our neighbors, but states across the country. When I walked into Deed and when I first took this job, I asked some of my colleagues, you know, what's our marketing budget? What do we have to work with here? And they just kind of chuckled. And I realized we had zero. We don't have a marketing budget at Deed. And that just seems kind of silly for an agency whose job it is to grow our talent market, whose job it is to attract businesses. We have a great story. It's not like we don't have something to say. We have a lot of good things to say, but we need money to market it, and now more than ever. So about $4.5 million focused there. Additionally, this would fund a full-time person to run the Minnesota Business Vitality Council. This is a group we've started over the last 3 years that brings together other agencies in state government to partner with Deed to really focus on discrete economic development issues where we want to get other agencies and the rest of government really lined up to promote growth, whether that's childcare, growing our hemp business industry, growing CTE classes in high schools. That's the kind of thing that Vitality Council can do, and we just need to make it a stable part of our agency to grow business. Additionally, we have some money in our budget focused on nonprofits. We heard many nonprofits just a moment ago tell their stories. This is a land of an extraordinary nonprofit marketplace, but boy, they really got hit during the pandemic. And while this committee and the leaders here, along with the governor, worked hard to ensure we had some small business relief grant for small businesses, we never did a program like that for nonprofits. And you know, many of them, they employ about 10 to 15% of our state's workforce, need that funding to make sure they can build themselves up for the future. So we have over $50 million in our budget for a nonprofit recovery and resiliency fund. We had run it similar to a small business relief grant program that we ran twice before during the pandemic. Probably use a lottery system to make it fair, but I think this is a program we think whose time has come and could really help jumpstart that community. You may have seen that when the governor announced his supplemental budget, his additional budget, when the forecast came out even higher than we had seen, one of the first areas we went to grow our efforts is the small business partnership grants. And these grants go to organizations in community who help give technical assistance, coaching, training, loans, dollars, help essentially to small businesses who can't just walk into US Bank or Wells Fargo and get funded or get assistance. And so these grants are incredibly popular. This committee has been behind them for a long time. We see a huge need in that network of CDFIs and others for these dollars. And so we're recommending $5 million additional to that program, as well as an additional $20 million for a program that Senator Pratt, Representative Nord, myself collaborated on, along with many of you, the Main Street Economic Revitalization Program. This program recognizes that main streets and corridors of business, collections of business really suffered from a whole host of challenges, whether it's lack of foot traffic because of COVID-19 or the civil unrest that followed George Floyd's murder. Money here goes into building up those corridors, those ecosystems of business. And we think with the structure we've already built that's off and running, an additional $20 million could go a long way towards helping main streets across Minnesota thrive. So that's kind of a look at small business and how we're thinking about some components there that could help small businesses in our state. Next, let's talk about something I'm sure you hear about from your constituents every single day, because we hear it too, and that's workforce. We are facing right now the steepest workforce challenges our state has ever faced. And you all know this well because we had this on our radar before the pandemic even struck, right? In many ways, COVID just accelerated these trend lines for all of us, but the numbers now are stunning. We have 205,000 open jobs in the state right now. That's a 95,000 increase from the second quarter of 2020. And in almost all industries, we're setting records here. There are about 2.7 jobs for every one Minnesotan looking for them. Those numbers nationally, 1.7 jobs for every person looking for a job. So we're even tighter than the nation, and we've got to be doing something different if we're going to see different results. I think one thing that's important to recognize is it's not like the cavalry's coming. It's not like tomorrow a whole bunch of people are moving here and we're all set to go. You look at these trend lines up on the graph, we have flattened out our projections according to the state demographer for the growth of our labor market coming forward. If you look at this next slide, you'll see this is the projection from the state demographer of growth in our labor market by age group. And you see it just flattens off in the coming decades. So we've got to be trying new things. I will say that the governor's budget, beyond just Deed, focuses on a pretty holistic look here. On the next slide, you'll see 6 different strategies that we've employed across a host of different recommendations. And I'll share them here briefly and then get into kind of the deed components. One is simply that we've got to strengthen our pipeline by investing in young people and students. And you heard that from some of the testifiers earlier. That's a critical thing to making sure we have the pipeline in place. Second is we've got to activate workers who are overlooked into great jobs. There's a lot of our labor force hiding in plain sight. People just aren't looking in the right communities. They're not finding that avenue in, and we've got to have strategies to make that more possible. Number 3, we got to get more people moving here. There's just no question. We've got to get people coming to Minnesota to grow our talent market. Number 4, we've got to focus on these sectors where the need is greatest. And I tell you, healthcare, the caring professions, education, these are fields that every community needs to survive and to thrive, and they are hurting the most when it comes to workforce. And then we got to look to the future. We've got to make sure we're investing in technology jobs, manufacturing jobs, those jobs that are kind of, everybody realizes now that COVID has struck, have the longest future and the strongest pay possibilities moving forward. And then last, we've got to look at the whole worker, not just training or job development, but we got to think about childcare, transportation, housing. So that's sort of a more holistic look at how we're considering this workforce moment. And I wanted to share that to say that there's a lot happening here on the workforce front, but specifically for Deed's budget, we're focused on a few key pieces on that list. First of all, we're focused on tech jobs. And the reason for that is that they're growing twice as fast as any other occupation in the state. 12.2% growth in tech jobs in Minnesota compared to 5.7% growth for all other job categories. Today, right now, we've got 6,000 open jobs in the tech marketplace in Minnesota, 35,000 expected to be open the next decade, but our pipeline is in trouble. We don't have the pipeline that's going to set ourselves for success, and the states that do will outcompete us on the companies that are going to dominate the global economy in the next decades to come. So we start with young people and we say, let's put $15 million into a tech jobs pipeline for youth program. This is a program that would focus on young people, getting them access to training, coding, career exploration and exposure programs. We focus particularly on young people of color, which are vastly underrepresented in these fields. Here's a stat that really bugs me, and I hope it bugs you too. We are last place of all 50 states in the number of students who take the AP computer science examination in high school. We're 50th out of 50 states. So we just are not oriented right now for the future if the kind of economy we need is going to have tech workers. And I'm not just talking about tech workers that work at tech companies. We're talking about tech workers at every industry, right? Every company is a tech company today. And so you need to have those tech skills going into those jobs, and you got to start young. So $15 million to build off of a pilot program that Deputy Commissioner Majors and his team are already running. We see huge possibility there, but we also see possibility to reskill workers into the technology field from other fields. And I think you hear a lot of talk about the great resignation, everyone's quitting their job. I mean, when we look at the numbers, it's more like the great migration. People are just moving to jobs that are better. And the jobs that are better are jobs that require skills and technology. That's the differentiator that is out there today, whether you're operating a CNC machine on the manufacturing floor or doing software development at a tech company, that's where the growth is. And so $13 million to really help our large and diverse tech sector grow stronger and make it easy for anybody to come and say, hey, we want to switch industries, help us get there. Because switching jobs is hard and making those transitions is difficult. Having that training helps a lot. A little bit more on the theme of tech, but focused on clean tech. We have a program in our budget, $2 million, which combined with a commerce program would make for 8 total, focused on clean tech. And there are some extraordinary organizations doing this work already. In Senator Champion's district, Jeanette Staples is doing some great work there. We think we should just see more organizations like that, training in clean tech. Climate change is a fact. People understand that now. We're all ensuring we have a state that can, I think, be ready to take on the economic opportunity that comes with trying to combat climate change. And we need the workforce to get there. So we have a workforce program focused there. And then, I'll tell you, we sit on top of workforce development system today that was really built for another generation. The tools that we have at our disposal are the tools that were built really in kind of the mid 80s, early 90s for helping people get jobs. You got to walk into a building, you got to sit down with accounts, you got to go to a computer lab. Nobody goes to a computer lab anymore. I mean, some might, but most people have cell phones and they have computers at their homes. And our workforce development system has a front door that would not exactly entice you to come in and want to get a job with us. If you go to the next slide, you'll see the current front door that we direct people to find jobs in our state. This is MinnesotaWorks.net, a revolutionary platform for its time. But its time was 2007. And here we are in 2022. this is a site that not only needs a facelift, but we need to reimagine how we're helping people find jobs. And so we are asking for $15 million to reimagine how we do workforce at the state. And we've got a great list of directives there. We work very closely with local boards and others to make sure the tools exist. But we've got to come up with modern times if we're going to have a state workforce program that works. And when I look around the agency, we just don't have the tools or the budget or the lane to get there. So let's get ourselves out of the late 90s internet phase and get into 2022 and invest in our system. And then lastly, I'll mention paid family medical leave. And we were just so happy to see some colleagues in the GOP put forward a proposal last week. It means the conversation is taking on a new direction. However we get at this, it's important for workers in our state to have. We certainly believe our program makes a ton of sense. $11.7 million to build that platform that can start taking into payroll taxes and begin that program, that work. We put this in the workforce category because we think it could be a differentiator. If Minnesota had a paid family medical leave program that worked, we'd be differentiated from our neighbors, and we would continue a long tradition of making sure this is a state that takes care of its workers. The cost here, we estimate, is around the price of a cup of coffee per worker per week for an employer. So just to put that in perspective, you could either have a free Starbucks on a Friday program or offer your workers paid family medical leave. I think the choice there is pretty clear, something we believe strongly we should make sure happens. Let's talk about new workers for a second. And new workers in particular is an area that we just see a huge amount of possibility in. And as I mentioned before, I'm joined by Assistant Commissioner Nisa Haji Mumin, who runs our Office for New Americans. We're running that office right now out of a federal grant we were able to get, for which we're very grateful, but that grant's coming up. And we want to make this an always-on component of our office. And the reason is these are workers that are going to help build the next chapter of our economy. In the next 10 years in Minnesota, 70% of our growth in the state is coming from people of color, and almost all, in fact, when you look at the net migration to our state, all of the net migration over the last 20 years has been because of immigrants. And we don't do a good enough job in the state of making sure that if you come into the state with a PhD, you're not driving an Uber, you're putting that PhD to use. And so the Office of New Americans is an office that with just $500,000, this is a speck on our budget, would continue the efforts of Anissa and her office to really build those pathways between employers and immigrant communities, help that workforce development be the main priority for our newest Minnesotans, and really substantiate this office as something that is going to make sure we have the workforce that businesses need in the future. We think also that migrant workers are a major area to focus on. So we have some money in our budget to ensure that we have a person at Deed who helps businesses access migrant workers and make sure that migrant workers have a great and safe experience in our state. In addition, we would continue the committee the governor put together to focus on these workers so that we're making sure that Minnesota is welcoming for those workers, safe for those workers. And again, the businesses can take advantage of this workforce and be smart at a time of historic shortages. Lastly, and then Chair Pratt, I'm eager to take you and the committee's questions. We think that there is a huge economic opportunity when it comes to climate change and the changes that it is bringing to Minnesota and the world. Certainly the clean tech workforce program mentioned a moment ago is one of the areas that we're focused on. But we also think electric vehicles are by no doubt coming to Minnesota and coming to our region. Minnesota has been a leader in this space. What we hear from businesses and others is that they want to transition to having electric vehicles, but those early setup costs, given the economics right now, are challenging. We want to help accelerate that transition. So $20 million would go into an electric vehicle and charging infrastructure program. This would provide the resources to businesses that would be able to purchase these vehicles and charging stations and accelerate that transition and really put Minnesota in an economic advantage to other states that don't do this. And then lastly, we know that of the many disruptions happening in our economy today, one of them is energy and how energy is changing. And there are already between 8 to 10 communities in Minnesota who know definitively that coal plants in their communities are shutting down. It's a fact, it's happening. The dates have been set in many cases for the very last day that coal plant will generate energy. And those communities have hundreds of people oftentimes working in those coal plants. What are they going to do next? What's the next job in this economy? And how can that job be a job that has a longer term trajectory? So we have established in our office an energy transition program that has a new director. Her name is Carla Vita. She just started a week ago. But we don't have any grants to actually issue to the communities to develop the planning resources that is required to make the transition to what's next. So we would advocate for $2.5 million to make grants to ensure we can help those communities make that transition. This is about jobs, and it's about greater Minnesota jobs, which is why we're so excited about this and think it's so critical. So Chair Pratt, I just appreciate the time, your leadership and the collaboration with this committee, and myself and my colleagues would love to stand for any questions that you might have.
Thank you. Thank you, Commissioner Grove. Senator Recchi, I think you had a question, and then just let me know if any other members have questions as well.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Chair, and thank you, Commissioner. A lot of the conversation today has revolved around the workforce. I don't think there's a committee any of us sit down at or a conversation we engage in that doesn't have the topic of workforce in it, but Deed happens to be you. We've got a lot of people sitting on the bench. They aren't included in this unemployment number and such. You know, I hear numbers 500,000-600,000 people. We all know in our communities where we've got help wanted signs everywhere, we still got a lot of people on the bench that aren't participating in the workforce. How do you envision that we get them off the bench, get them trained, and get them employed? Because they are probably coming with very low skills or no skills. So we're going to have to work in that training component. But we've got a lot of bodies out there that can join us in the workforce. And I think that's the number one challenge, no matter what industry we're in. And we got to figure out a way to do it sooner rather than later because everybody needs help.
Chair Pratt, Senator Recchi, I couldn't agree more. We've got to activate workers in Minnesota. And I think that the programs we've just highlighted here are exactly the way to do that. We've got to make sure we're training for jobs that are better in our economy today. We've got to invest in the communities that are often overlooked by employers. But outside of these budget proposals, I'll just say administratively, we are taking a totally different tact when it comes to helping job seekers find jobs. We have flipped our model. We don't wait in career force centers for people to come in and meet up with us. We are making proactive phone calls, thousands a week, to unemployed workers, directing them to job opportunities. And it's working. Thousands of people every week are falling off the unemployment rolls and back into the economy. We've had 2 straight months of labor force participation rates rising by at least 0.3 percentage points. So we are moving in the right direction, but that doesn't take away from the truth of your statement, which is that we've got to be really aggressive and assertive right now. And we've got to help businesses find the workers that, again, frankly, are hiding in plain sight. A lot of businesses don't have that access into maybe communities of disability that have great workers, communities of color that are often overlooked, communities of immigrants that speak different languages. That's where Deed can play a bridge role, because not every business has a 10-person HR team that can just be scouting all the time across the state and have those connections. So we're trying to play that role, especially for the small to medium-sized businesses. But this is our top priority. The number one economic development issue in our state is workforce development. And, I'll mention just 2 other components. One is that marketing effort to bring talent in. We've got to change our message and welcome folks into our state. And we've got to invest in automation. I mean, I think this idea that, the robots are coming to take our jobs is a long since antiquated notion. We're like, bring on the robots. We need the help. But we've got to train workers to use those robots and make sure that their jobs are up leveling and getting better. And so we've got a couple of automation training programs in the agency that we're really pushing hard to. But we welcome your suggestions as well, because I think this, to your point, it is the issue.
Thank you. Senator Recchi, did you have a follow-up?
Yeah, just one thing quick, and it's just more of a comment. You don't need to chime in, but what you just answered with is kind of what I was looking for. Too many times we talk high level and it's just involving money. It's a request for money, and we get that all over. Drilling down and putting in some of that criteria underneath, what is the real plan, I think is what everybody's looking for, so you can get more buy-in. But thank you.
Thank you, Senator Recchi. Senator Rarick.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. And Commissioner, in the beginning of Article 2, Section 1, you have a portion here to eliminate a lot of the reports that are being done. Can you help us understand? I know a lot of the reports are originally put in place so that we can see what groups are doing, how they're performing. Can you help us understand why we would eliminate all these reports?
Chair Pratt, Senator, we could not agree more that reporting to the legislature is essential to running a good agency. And we also want to run an efficient agency. And one of the things that we recognize when we look at all the legislatively mandated reports that we produce is that there's no ability to off-ramp them when they're no longer relevant. We don't pretend that we should make the decision if something should be off-ramped. If you want the report, we'll write the report. But we want to create a lane inside of our statutes where we can have that conversation with this body to sunset reports when it makes sense. because we find that our staff spend thousands of times poring over reports sometimes, and they could be out doing the work, finding workers for businesses, helping entrepreneurs get started, but instead we're kind of reporting on things. But I want to be clear, we'll report as much as you want us to report. That's our job. We want to run a transparent agency. We just want to create space where we can have a conversation to ask you, okay, still need this report? Is that helpful? Is it not? If it is, we'll do it. If not, we won't. But we don't have a lever within our statutes right now to do it. So we just find we're running a lot of reports, and we want to run a lean shop, a tight shop that's efficient. And so that's kind of the idea behind that piece.
Commissioner Grove, along that line, when the legislative auditor came in and looked at UI fraud, one of the things that they highlighted was lack of usable reporting, that the reporting that gets reported to the federal Department of Labor is really not sufficient for us, and there's no reporting to the state legislature. Have you looked at that recommendation, and what are your plans along that line?
Senator Pratt, I appreciate you answering this question. And as a banker who specialized in fraud, we're lucky to have you running this committee because you can advise us really well. You know, I think in general, the OLA report did find that these actions were effective in combating many of the attempts of attacks of cyber criminals, for which we were grateful. The OLA said, quote, the UI's division new imposter screening processes provided time for the division to stop initial payments on suspicious accounts. In June 2021, the division stopped payments in about 2,500 suspicious accounts, more than 1/3 of all new accounts opened that month. End quote. So this was truly an issue. They also said, quote, the UI division regularly conducts data analyses to identify and lock accounts with suspicious characteristics that indicate they may have been opened by imposters or hijackers. These processes were effective in quickly identifying and locking suspicious accounts through our sample, end quote. So we do believe we have a system in place that's well, and the OLA agrees with that, but we welcome their advice. On reports, we are happy to engage on any report that you would like us to make as it relates to UI fraud. We do report that to the necessary officials at the federal government level, so we do believe we're in compliance there. But we'll talk about this as much as you feel that we need to. Always the dance with these reports, as you well know, is the more public you are on that, the more creativity you inspire amongst criminals who are looking for ways to hack in. So we want to try to keep that balance. But whether it's private meetings or public ones, we welcome additional opportunities to report and would love to engage in that conversation.
Thank you, Commissioner. Next, we had Senator Johnson Stewart, followed by Senator Duran.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Commissioner Grove, thank you for coming today. I just wanted to voice my really adamant support for the Family and Medical Leave Act. I have a small business. This would cost me, I just asked my accountant how much we paid. We had $2.8 million in payroll last year. At the rate that you just noted in your report, that would cost me $8,400 a year. That's an incredibly good deal for a small business person who wants to provide FMLA coverage. Right now, I have several employees who I'm covering that on my own, just out of the goodness of my heart, frankly. I have an employee whose wife has cancer. I agreed to pay him 32 hours a week to care for her because he has no other options. And that cost me $1,000 a week at his hourly rate. That doesn't even include what I cover for him for profit sharing and healthcare. So if I had only to pay $8,400 a year, I could cover 8 weeks of his time and still have money left over for my other two employees who are caring for their mother and one who's caring for a child with cancer. I only have 30 employees, and yet 10% of them would benefit from this kind of act. So I just really implore you to please work with the GOP. I know they have another option. I'm glad both parties think this is important, but speaking as an owner of a small business, I never describe myself as a small businesswoman, but I do own a small business. Anyway, as an owner, I just would love to provide this for my employees, and paying $8,400 a year plus or minus would allow me to budget for it. Right now, I'm just counting on the good Lord to make them better so I don't have to keep worrying about this. It's really unaffordable for me, but it puts me in a bind because I can't really fire somebody or let them go, especially one of my employees who is on work visa as a visitor. He's not eligible for unemployment. So please do this for us small business people. We really very much need it. So thank you for including it in the governor's bill. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Commissioner Grove, any
Chair Pratt, just to echo and thank you for that advocacy, Senator Stewart. This is a small business program. You know, all the big companies offer this because how could you not in today's job market? I mean, you wouldn't get anybody in your front door. And so small business owners like you are left footing big medical bills and coverage. I'll say that the other thing that we do in this package is if you're a small business that has to let someone go for a while with this leave, there's a grant program built into the package where we would help pay the business to find a new worker and cover some of that loss in the interim, because we know it's harder for small businesses to give up that worker for a shorter period of time. My dad had a 6-person landscaping company for my youth, and if he had to lose a worker for PFML for the summer, that would be real work gone. And so, you know, grant programs can help kind of cover some of that gap too. So I think it's a thoughtful approach, and we welcome the discussion.
Well, and thank you. And Commissioner, I've been talking about this issue for, many years. You and I have had several discussions. I've described this, the governor and the House proposal in many different ways, but it's a very scary proposition. It's to find out that the main reason businesses like yours haven't been able to offer any family medical leave is because the Commerce Department would not allow those policies to be written. And that's the issue that Senator Coleman is addressing, to make sure that why should we create a whole new government run insurance company when there are providers out there that could write this coverage, but our own Department of Commerce, our own insurance commissioner has blocked the ability to do that. And then, we've had several experts talk about the cost, that there's, many of them have said that the costs are understated. They believe that the risk and the premium at some point in time would jump dramatically. There's concerns about this, as we just saw the run on unemployment, our unemployment trust fund, that, the state would end up becoming the backstop for many of these policies going forward. So there's a lot of concerns that Senator Coleman has tried to address in her bill that's not in the jurisdiction of this committee. It's in the jurisdiction of the Commerce Committee, but appreciate you at least acknowledging that that there is a different idea going forward. Sure.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I guess as a follow-up, just to clarify, Commissioner Grove, would your FMLA program, is it voluntary? Isn't it Senator Coleman's program is a voluntary enrollment? Would this be voluntary, or would it be like unemployment insurance where I'm forced to pay? Well, I'm required to pay it as part of my wages. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Chair Pratt, Senator Stewart, the program would be required, but with an opt-out. So if you were an employer and wanted to opt out of the program, you could pay a fee to opt out based on the size of your company. And that fee would help go towards the socialized costs here. This is a good debate to have, and we could have a whole hearing about it, I'm sure. But I would just say our belief is that, and I say this as a capitalist coming from the business sector, sitting in this role, having worked in business my whole life, that there are certain things that make sense for the private market to take care of, and there are certain things that make sense for the public market to take care of. I don't think we will want, for example, insurance companies running unemployment insurance for the state, right? That's a clear government function. And I think our assessment is that paid family medical leave is similar, that it's that socialized cost, it's that guaranteed benefit that will be there no matter what that you need. Certainly companies could decide not to take up insurance for this if they wanted to. And I think that's one of the risks of a market-driven solution. But again, we welcome the discussion, and I think it's a discussion that we do need to have. Our goal here is to make sure that that is there for families and the workers that work at your company and others, so that when life happens, you're not out of luck.
Well, and I'll just say a couple of closing comments. So there's a difference between whether or not you offer an incentive or a mandate, the stick or the carrot. And I know Senator Coleman has taken this from the carrot approach by actually offering tax incentives to small business. Look, we've talked about, we talked about this in workforce, that there's competition going on, and small business has been at a disadvantage to the larger businesses because they can offer a better benefit set. And I've worked with Senator Coleman on her bill, so I know that the idea, the premise around her bill is to level that playing field so that small businesses like yours can compete on an equal footing. And the fear is that the large companies under the government program would abandon their programs, go on to the government program, which is something we don't want. We want them to provide that on their own, because in many cases, those benefit sets are even better than what the commissioner has proposed. But I think we've beaten this topic, even though it's not in it's in the governor's budget, but it's not in our committee. So Senator Drahan. Oh, go ahead. Go ahead, Senator Drahan, ask your question.
Thank you. And Commissioner, good to see you in person. Thanks for coming and your team. I think we all realize that we're going to have to work together in the next few years to really encourage everybody to be a productive member of society and to kind of rethink our labor pool and reprioritize our labor pool and really educate our young that every job is honorable. But strive for those jobs that are career path jobs that you can provide for your family, et cetera. So I look forward to working with you on that in the coming weeks. But my question had to do with FTEs. I see you're asking for 350 some FTEs on your proposal here. How many FTEs do you have now, or full-time equivalent employees for those that are listening at home? So how many employees do you have now, and how many are you budgeted for? So how many openings do you have, I guess, is part of my question.
Chair Pat, Senator Drahan, it's a great question. The department right now employs about 1,400 people. I should note that a majority of our funding comes from the federal government, not the state government. So the salaries are often paid by federal government employees or federal government funds. The 355 is right. That's a total amount. 32 and a half of those are left if you don't do PFML. So a lion's share of that is the paid family medical leave employees we need to bring in to build that program out. If you take that out, you have about 32.5 FTEs that you would add to the department with these budget asks. And I'll just say this, that again, we believe in running an efficient agency. This budget would activate billions of dollars of economic stimulus into our market, growth for businesses and opportunities for workers. And so to make sure that those dollars are administered effectively and without waste or inefficiencies, we would need people in the building to do it. But we take very seriously running a smart and an efficient agency. And I think we're proud of the people that do work at Deed, and we'd be thrilled to welcome more to make these budget priorities take flight.
Senator Drahan.
Follow up. So of the 1,400, that's employees or positions. So how many openings do you have, I guess, is where I was kind of leading. So how many people do
Chair Pratt,
opening jobs do you have?
Yeah, Senator, I don't have those numbers at my fingertips unless maybe Commissioner Rowe, do you? Yeah, we'd have to pull that. We would be happy to do that though.
Okay,
but we're
thank
about
you.
1,400. Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Senator Hurd.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. And I don't have a question for the commissioner, but I just want to. Okay. Thank you, Mr. Chair. I don't have a question for the commissioner in his office. Perhaps maybe he might want to comment later after my remarks, but I just want to compliment his leadership and also Governor Walz for putting in regards to the Office of New Americans, and is needed, is long overdue. Actually, we're a little behind the game, but it's not too late to start and keep it going. I would think that if we have had this office way before we struck with the pandemic, perhaps we might reduce, the health casualty of our community by, a high percentage. And at the same time, we may be able to smoothly disperse the funding to culture more or New Americans that needed the loans and the grants. So, and also at the same time, soften the blow on hate crime particularly for Asian Americans. And I know the incoming of immigrants coming to this country, perhaps from refugees from Afghanistan, Ukraine, and Myanmar in particular. So this office will be will help us in engaging and how to connect them with the job resource that we have. I remember Senator Drahan did make a remark several weeks ago, and I agree with him that we're gonna, and you have the statistic too, that we're gonna be short of workforce. And this office is as you say earlier, we'll trying to fit people and increase our workforce. So I just want to commend you and the leadership of the governor. If I can be a help in any way, I'm here and I will wholeheartedly support this legislation, especially this part.
Thank you, Senator.
Yeah, Senator Chair Pratt, if I might, I just would like to introduce Assistant Commissioner Haji Mumin, maybe to just give a little more context on this office and why it's important.
Thank you, Commissioner Grove. Senator Pratt, Chair Pratt, and the committee, thank you so much. My name is Anissa Haji Mumin, Assistant Commissioner for Immigrant and Refugee Affairs. And as somebody who is immigrant and refugee herself, I understand the importance of the establishment of Office of New Americans. And many states have done this in the past, including Michigan, Colorado, Illinois, Virginia, and Ohio, and more. And they're doing a great job. However, Minnesota is known a state that embraces and welcomes immigrants and refugees. So it makes sense to have an office similar to the states, other states, where we can empower immigrants and refugees with economic development, workforce development. They do want to establish their own businesses. They want to be financially independent. And with that, creating access to resources and empowering them will definitely help our state grow, but also assisting employers and business community to connect and engage and recruit immigrants and refugees so they fill in the positions that are open is a critical work that I have been doing in the past 18 months, and I plan to do so. But above all, also there is the part that we need to create language access, and that needs guidance as well. So I feel the office would be really the heart of all this work in connecting our state and immigrants and refugees. We have done a great job in resettling Afghan evacuees, and the community and the state levels have come together. And actually we have been an example to other states looking into us, the great work that we're doing. Also, we're already having conversations of the incoming Ukrainian refugees. So I feel this office is really important. It just expands the thought that we are seen as a state that really embraces their immigrants and refugees. And we have a great history. So it makes sense to have that and to be proud of. And by doing so is to establish the Office of New Americans. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Senator Rarick, you had a question.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. And I guess I know we're out of time, but I want to put it on your radar. I think we really need to follow up, and I see you have some changes to the way pay for performance is going to be administered. I think we would really appreciate a better understanding of what your proposal, how that would work as compared to the payment when someone is placed and if they're retained for a year, so that we can kind of figure out the math to see if it's something that's going to be more beneficial to bring more groups into the pay per performance model. So just something maybe we can all work on soon.
Yeah, Chair Pratt, Senator, we would love to sit down and get into more detail here. Our goals with these policy changes are to get more people to use it. We're believers that pay performance makes sense, that model is a strong one, but we need to shift some of the incentive structures, we think, to make it more enticing to more workforce-owned organizations. So yeah, let's sit down and walk through the details more clearly, but we think it's an innovation that's long overdue.
Oh, Senator Champion.
I'd love, Mr. Chair, thank you. I'd love to have that conversation because I want to make sure that we're very clear that when we think in terms of pay for performance strategies, that they're not always beneficial for people of color. And I want to make sure that as we're thinking about that being this innovative idea, that we're really taking that into consideration, because too often I think DEED has worked hard, but they seem to leave communities of color behind. And if we continue to embrace some of these other strategies around the table, then we're going to continue to be left behind. And so I just like for us to think about this and not just embrace it and say it's an innovative strategy. It's innovative and great for those who are well-resourced and those who have a history of not having economic challenges, but it doesn't always work for all folks. And I just want to make sure that we are mindful of that. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you. Before I give the commissioner any last comments, I just want to talk about what's on, I don't know if it's page 1 or page 3, the unemployment trust fund debt repayment and replenishment.
we made a promise to small businesses when they were asked to shut down that we would hold them harmless. And the House has been holding this bill hostage for a month and a half. We have accumulated over $2.5 million in extra interest on this debt by our failure to act, by the House's failure to act. And Commissioner, if I do my math right, that's right around 3,100 weekly benefits that could have been paid out. That's going to no benefit to Minnesota working families that at some point in time may need these benefits. And as the Commissioner said, the House delay has put this into a more complicated position to resolve. And at some point, it's going to end up costing us more to wind back what's been caused by their delay rather than by their action in a timely fashion. And I appreciate that the Commissioner has been a strong advocate for this. He knows that I wish the governor would have been a stronger advocate. Having been on the opposite side of the governor on an issue, I know that when he's truly passionate, he's out there beating the pulpit every day, and we're not seeing that from him. And we know that there's communications going between the leaders, but we really need him to be the voice of this for both Minnesota business that is going to see this increase and working Minnesotans that will need these benefits at some point in time. We have to have this fund stable and reliable to meet the obligations that you said in your previous testimony on the other program, to be there in a way that we've made that promise. Senator Champion, very briefly.
Very brief, Mr. Chair. I just want to say that I would hope that we all would take a step back and think deeply about this. I think that when we pit frontline workers and businesses against each other in the way that we sometimes do today, I don't think that's beneficial for any of us. We made a commitment to frontline workers of $250 million that I think we also walked away from, and those are workers. Those are people that we made a commitment to. And I do believe that we should pay the costs and do what we need to do for the UI trust fund as well. But when we couch it this particular way, I think it removes the whole notion that we are, that both groups were in the same storm, but in a different boat. But I think that we got to be very thoughtful about both sides of this equation, because I do think it needs to be done. But I think that it's equally as important for the governor to also speak to our commitment there as well. I'm not suggesting that we should have had these two things put together, but I think the legislature put all of us in this situation because when we did not do what we were supposed to do or what we committed ourselves to, and when we came back in session, no one talked about it. And so it feels wrong when we just talk about it from one perspective. I just would encourage us not to politicize it, but to talk about what all Minnesotans need and what commitment that we've made to workers and to businesses.
Just on a closing comment there. Well, Senator Champion, is the Senate proposed a plan that provided healthcare workers a benefit within the $250 million that was allocated by both bodies and the governor agreed to. The House walked away from that deal. They demanded it be 4 times larger. We could have passed that bill last fall and we didn't. And this UI, this unemployment fund was never in competition with frontline workers. This had a deadline, this needed to be done. And it's the failure of House leadership that we're sitting here today, still sitting here. And Senator Champion, we can take this offline. We need to get to the commissioner for final comments. But I just wanted to make sure that there was some balance in the fact that we have never in this committee, the frontline worker pay has never been in front of our committee. We never tried to trade one off for another. We're just doing the work that we had to do and move forward in order to make sure that we keep the promise to the people that we asked to shut down, to the people that had to be furloughed and laid off, and to make sure that future working Minnesotans have the benefits that we promised them.
Mr. Chair.
Commissioner Grove, why don't we just finish up with closing comments? We're well over time.
Sure. Well, thank you, Chair Pratt. And this is an important discussion. I just want to thank you all again for letting us come here today and talk to you. I think on this issue of UI. The governor has been unwavering in his support of getting this done, and $1 billion of frontline worker pay is in his budget as well. Both great for the economy. Money that goes into the pockets of frontline workers gets spent at the same businesses that are trying to recover right now. So let's get them both done. Let's come to the table and finish the job. I want to maybe end where we started today, because Senator Champion began by bringing together a bunch of great community leaders talking about equity in our economy. Many of them are still in the room today. And I just want to say to this committee, that remains the central focus of our department, and we've got more work to do. And we want feedback from Senator Champion and community leaders to sharpen our toolkit. We believe this budget does a lot for equity. In our budget, we have $15 million for youth tech programs focused on Black and brown communities, $13 million to reskill Black and brown communities into those tech jobs, $20 million in Main Street revitalization dollars would help those corridors hit by civil unrest, $5 million a year in those small business partnership grants that go into organizations helping communities of color build small businesses and make sure they're successful. $500,000 for Office of New Americans, huge effort there. $500,000 for our migrant workers, and then $5 million for Launch and $17 million for Angel. Two programs have great equity track records and are getting better by the day. But it's not just about the budget. You just judge our agency on what we do every day. Do we come to work and do we keep equity at the center of our focus? And I would just share a couple of numbers with you to show you that we are making some progress there. We've seen a 60% increase in the last year in the number of small business development center consultations to Black and brown business owners. We've seen a record amount of $9.5 million in small business partnership grants made across the state. 4 times more dollars in the Angel tax credit have gone to founders of color under this administration than in previous administrations. 1 in 4 founders in Launch Minnesota that are accessing those funds are founders of color. We've seen a 10% increase in small business relief grants to BIPOC founders, and we've doubled the number of Black and brown focused economic development organizations that we work with. Believe me, we got work to do. These inequalities remain. They are stubborn, and it's a long journey. But I just want to let this committee know it is central to our focus at this inflection point in our economy. And I really believe that what we do over the next 2 months is going to influence the next 2 decades of Minnesota's economic trajectory. That is the weight, that is the urgency that we feel about this moment. We are thrilled to partner with this committee on that, thrilled to partner with the House. Working together, we can do big things for this economy and set ourselves on a trajectory that's really going to put Minnesota at the forefront of the global economy. So Chair Pratt, thank you again for having us, for your partnership and your leadership, and for everyone here. We're open for more questions offline, and just thanks again for the time.
Thank you, Commissioner. Members, with that, I know we're well over time. We had a good, robust discussion on both bills. With that, we'll stand adjourned until Monday at 3 o'clock, and happy to have offline conversations with everyone. Something that was with that, we stand.